In another hadith, he said, خَيْرُكُمْ أَحْسَنُكُمْ خُلُقًا. The best amongst you are those who are best in manners. The best amongst you are those who are best in attitude. And yet you are saying he's a terrorist, and you think I will accept you? You think I will just take away all what I know about him, then I will just accept your own, your own ignorance, your own dumb arguments against him? You think I will do that? When you see people saying that they leave Islam, check them. What did they know about Islam initially? They know nothing, or they know close to nothing about Islam. Where did they learn from? Who are their teachers? Who are their scholars? Most of these people, they don't understand the Quran, they don't learn the Quran, and they don't listen to scholars of Sunnah, the scholars of Christian Islam. So it makes it very easy for them to deviate. But people that learn from the right source, that learn Islam based on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, their faith is so firm because they are practicing the religion based on clarity, not based on because my daddy talk say, my father talk say. No, they are practicing the religion based on evidence. If you have been following my videos, I hardly quote a scholar, not because I don't have scholars quotation on my head, but because the religion is not from the scholar. The religion has its source. I take my quotation from the sources directly. The Quran, the Sunnah, the Quran, the Sunnah, yes. Ati'ullah wa ati'ur Rasul. Follow Allah and His Messenger. I pick my evidence directly from the Quran because I learn about it and I'm still learning about it. I pick my evidence from the Sunnah of the Prophet because he was the one that was sent with the Quran. So I can't understand the Quran more than the person that was sent with the Quran. So, but for people that they just, they don't learn and they're not ready to learn, and they see sincere scholars of the religion who are calling to the pristine foundation of the religion, they abandon them. They don't listen to them. They'll not be saying that Islam does not guarantee salvation because you did not learn. You did not learn from the right sources. Learn before coming out to speak. There are lots of verses, countless numbers of verses that guarantee salvation in Islam. Believe in your Lord. In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah said, وَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. This is salvation. Anyone who hopes to meet his Lord on the day of resurrection, and you want to meet your Lord happily, you want to meet your Lord in peace, you want to meet your Lord and be admitted into paradise, Allah said, فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. Engage in righteous deeds. Engage in good deeds. Worship your Lord as much as possible. Assist humanity. Engage in act of charity. Do this. Good deeds. Good deeds are we know what are good deeds. And never وَلَا يُشْرِكْ فِي عِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. And do not associate partners with your Lord. Do not worship God along with other idols. Do not believe in Trinity. Do not believe in all these polytheistic faiths. Believe in one God and engage in good deeds in accordance to the teachings of the Prophet of God. This is what guarantees your salvation. So Islam is very clear. Islam is very pure. And Allah said that. Allah said, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ قِيلًا. Who is more truthful than Almighty Allah? Then, Allah also said in this same surah, Surah An-Nisa, verse 124, وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِنَ الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ وَلَا يُظْلَمُونَ نَقِيرًا. Allah said, whoever does good deeds from amongst the men and the women, whoever does good deeds, either a man or a woman, وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ, and is a believer, that's a clause. Is a believer in perfect monotheism. Is a believer in the oneness of his God. Then I say that فَأُولَٰئِكَ, these categories of people, anyone that falls into it, he believes in the oneness of his Lord, worships him as he deserves to be worshipped, believe in the prophets and the messengers, engage in deeds, righteous deeds and actions, either a man or a woman. Then I said, فَأُولَٰئِكَ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ. These are the categories of people who will be admitted into paradise. وَلَا يُظْلَمُونَ نَقِيرًا. and they will never be wronged. No form of injustice will be done on them. Lastly, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Quran chapter 23. In this Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah gives us attributes of the believers that give them access to salvation. Allah said, "Qad aflaha al-mu'minun." Or the aflaha al-mu'minun. Verily, the believers, they've succeeded. The believers, they've succeeded. Who are the believers? Alladhina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. They are those whom, when they pray with humility. They pray, they stand before their Lord in humility. They stand before their Lord, they humble themselves before Him. Allah said, these are part of their attributes. The believers who are successful are those who don't engage in vain talk. They don't engage in bad speech. You don't hear them saying, bad words. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِزَكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِزَكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. The believers are those who give zakat. They engage in act of charity. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. The believers who have succeeded are those who preserve their chastity. They don't engage in immoral sexual activities. They don't engage in fornication or adultery. إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. The believers are those who don't engage in sexual activities except with their wives and their right hand possession. That is, their slaves. Islamically, it is permitted for a man to have sex with his slave. If you have issue with that, you can check the Bible. There are a lot of verses on that also. So if God permits that in the Bible, then I don't have any issue with it, because that is the standard. So now he says, if they have sex with their wife and their right hand possession, then there's no issue on them. Then he says, فَمَنِ ابْتَغَاءَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَاءَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ. Whoever seek for any means to satisfy his sexual need other than this, legislated means, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. These are the ones that are transgressors. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. The believers who will be saved in the hereafter, they are those who, when they make promise, when they make vow, they fulfill their vow. They fulfill their promise. They don't make vain promises. They don't just make promises without fulfilling their promises. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. The believers are those who preserve their prayers. They ensure that they pray often as it is being legislated by Almighty Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. These are the ones that will inherit. What will they inherit? الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. These are the ones that will inherit paradise. Jannatul Firdaus. They will inherit paradise and they will be there forever. So look at the attributes. So if you fall in within these attributes, you believe in your God Almighty, you pray with humility, you fulfill your promises and your vows, you engage in act of charity, then you have access to paradise. No one needs to die, like I keep on repeating. No one needs to be sacrificed. No blood needs to be shed, because God Almighty is a God of justice, not a God that will punish someone on behalf of others. So I beg, may God Almighty increase us all in goodness and make us firm on the truth.